If you sometimes feel like you're doing everything right and the money still gets stuck, maybe the problem was never really you. There's an energetic pattern that comes straight from your own family. Repeating the same decision, the same phrase, the same limit, without you ever choosing any of it. I stopped doing 5 things once I understood that, and the money stopped getting stuck. The first one, you're probably still doing today without even realizing it. But before I tell you what the first one is, let me ask you for something quick. Subscribe to the channel, because every week we break down an invisible pattern just like this one. No empty mysticism, just logic and real examples. And drop a like. Because there's a good chance someone in your own family is living out this exact pattern without ever stopping to think about it. We grow up hearing stories about money at home, even without realizing we're absorbing them. And when adult life hits and the numbers just don't add up, the first thing that comes to mind is personal guilt. I didn't try hard enough, I made the wrong choice, I'm just bad with money. But here's the thing, that's almost never just about you. Some families never seem to have enough left over, generation after generation, and no matter how much someone earns, something always shows up to eat away at whatever's extra. That's not bad luck, and it's not a coincidence. It's an energetic pattern, repeated like an emotional habit at home, passed down like an inheritance right alongside the family name. Most people try to fix this from the outside. Work more, cut expenses, take a course, and it even works a little for a while. But the pattern stays right there underneath, pulling you back to the same place, because it was never really yours to begin with. You don't have a money problem. You're running a program that isn't even yours, it's inherited. And the reason I'm telling you this right now is simple. There are 5 specific things I stopped doing once I understood this program from the inside. And the first one lives hidden inside a phrase so common that almost nobody notices the damage it causes every single day. The first thing I stopped doing was repeating phrases I heard at home my entire life without ever questioning a single one of them. Money causes problems. We've never had luck with this. Short phrases said without thinking, but repeated for years, they turn into prophecy. Your brain hears that as truth and starts confirming it, decision after decision, without you even noticing. What I did was simple. Every time that phrase came up, right there in the moment, I'd swap it for a different one. Consciously, before it could slip back onto autopilot. It doesn't need to be some perfect affirmation. It just needs to interrupt the automatic response. The second thing was, I stopped using my family as the measuring stick for how much I'm allowed to earn. When nobody at home ever made a certain amount, some part of you feels a strange discomfort going past that number. The kind that makes you hesitate before accepting a better offer than your father ever had. Or feel a silly guilt watching a bigger number land in your account. That creates an invisible ceiling, and you get stuck right at the height that felt normal for your story. I started noticing it the moment that comparison showed up, in the middle of a negotiation, a proposal, a raise, and I'd ask myself right then, is this a real limit, or is it just what my family considered possible? These two already bring real relief, but they're still on the surface. Because there's a third pattern that isn't in your words at all. It's in the role you decide to play inside your own family without ever signing up for it. The third thing I stopped doing was playing the role of the family's savior. In a lot of households, there's someone carrying that without ever asking for it. The kid who has to make it so everyone else stays balanced, the one who can't grow too much or it'll destabilize everything. I've seen people turn down promotions, avoid negotiating a higher salary just because deep down, growing felt like it would throw off a dynamic they never chose in the first place. It's like wearing a costume someone sewed for you as a kid without ever asking your size. You grow up, your body changes, but you keep wearing that same tight outfit because nobody ever told you it was okay to take it off. What I started doing was noticing the exact moment I was putting on that costume instead of actually choosing for myself. The fourth thing was I stopped punishing myself for doing well. Some people feel a strange weight when they earn more than their parents, more than their siblings, like prospering, is some kind of betrayal. That inherited sense of unworthiness works quietly in the background, sabotaging things right when they start to get better. For this one, I didn't use some pretty affirmation. Every small amount I saved, every good financial decision I made, I started writing it down as something earned. Not luck, not coincidence. Each one of those notes is proof of permission, and the system slowly learns, proof after proof, that prospering is safe. These two go a lot deeper than the first two. But there's still one piece missing that changes everything, because these first four are still just symptoms. The fifth one is the cause. And before I show you the turning point that changed everything for me, let me tell you something quick that can speed up this whole process. Here's the quick thing. When I started realizing I had an inherited role and a habit of self-punishment running underneath everything, I couldn't map it out on my own. I knew something was sabotaging me, but I couldn't tell what was actually my choice and what was just a family script. What really helped was following a structured process to identify each pattern one by one and rewrite it with real proof, not just willpower. That's exactly the process I put together inside the ebook linked in the description. It's not some new theory or magic formula. It's the same mapping and rewriting process I use myself, just faster, because the path is already laid out for you. The link's in the description. Take a look and see if it makes sense for you. But back to what matters right now. I told you the first four are still symptoms. It's time to show you the turning point that really changed the game for me. I did all four of the first things, all of them with real discipline. And even so, at some point, I still felt something pulling me back to the same place. That's when I understood the fifth thing, and it's not just another behavior to cut out. It's the thing that generates all the other behaviors. I stopped acting from the financial identity I inherited from my family, that quiet idea of who I am in relation to money running in the background before any decision even gets made. The first four items were effects. This one is the cause. You can change the phrase. Stop comparing yourself. Step out of the savior role. Build proof of permission. And if deep down you still feel like someone for whom money is hard, everything closes back up the same way it always did. Think about a computer's operating system. You can swap out every app you've installed one by one, but if the operating system underneath stays the same glitches keep coming back. Identity is the operating system. Behaviors are just the apps. What actually changes this isn't repeating an affirmation. It's naming the inherited script clearly, swapping it for a belief you can actually test, and creating real micro-proofs that confirm this new identity. Opening an account with a symbolic savings goal, negotiating a raise and logging it as earned evidence, not as luck. Every small proof slowly rewrites who you believe you are. The first four change behavior. The fifth changes who you are. And that's the only place where change stops being constant effort and starts being identity, holding the result up on its own. But for you to really trust this, I need to show you why this process works exactly where isolated techniques tend to fail. I tried isolated techniques before I understood any of this. I spent months repeating prosperity affirmations every single day, like a recipe. And I went right back to my old pattern, like nothing had ever happened. I've also seen someone take the opposite path. Change the underlying identity first, and the result just stuck. No need to repeat anything daily. It's not that affirmations are useless. It's that they're working on ground that was never actually prepared. It's like planting a new seed in soil that hasn't changed. It might even sprout, but it won't grow the same way because what's underneath never changed. Identity is the soil, technique is the seed. That's why that inherited phrase you swap out, that savior role you finally drop, they only stick for real when they're backed by the identity shift from the fifth item. On their own, they bring relief. Paired with the new identity, they become automatic because they stop being effort and start being a natural result of who you decided to be. Now that you understand why this last item is different, and why everything you tried before never lasted, it's time for me to show you exactly how to get started without overcomplicating it. You don't need to rewrite your whole story today. You just need to write the first different line. And that starts a lot simpler than it sounds. It starts with taking a few minutes today to remember 2 or 3 phrases about money that you heard over and over at home as a kid. You don't need to analyze them, just write them down. They'll come to mind fast, because they stuck precisely because they were repeated so often. After that, pick just one of them, whichever one weighs the most on you right now, and decide to challenge it with a real action in the next few days. This isn't about mentally promising you'll change. It's about doing something concrete that actually contradicts that phrase in practice. When you take that action, write it down as proof. You opened an account, negotiated a number, turned down a discount that came from fear, set aside a symbolic amount. Log it as evidence of who you're choosing to be, not as luck or coincidence. And if you can, tell someone you trust what you noticed and what you did. Saying it out loud to another person locks the change in a way that just thinking about it never does. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to repeat week after week until the new proof outweighs the old phrase. And that exact feeling, finally having a real path in your hands instead of just good intentions, that's what I wanted to dig into properly. I laid out the complete mapping and rewriting process, step by step, in the ebook linked for you in the description. Look at where you've landed. You went from, my money problem is just mine, to understanding there's an inherited script running underneath, and beyond that, now you know exactly where that script actually changes, at the level of identity, not behavior. And I'm not telling you this just so you'd understand it in theory. Every time I get a message from someone who mapped out their own script and went after the proof, week after week, I see the same thing. The change stops depending on motivation and starts holding itself up on its own. The ebook linked in the description exists exactly for that. So you don't have to stumble around trying to figure out on your own which phrase is yours and which one was inherited. If you made it this far, it's because this made sense to you, so it's worth taking a look. Now tell me in the comments, which of these 5 hit you the hardest: the inherited phrase, the comparison, the savior role, the self-punishment, or the underlying identity? I read and reply to a lot of comments, and it helps me know what to bring you in the next video. Soothsayers to the channel, because every week I bring you another invisible pattern like this one, so you can recognize it and take it apart, no fluff. And if this video hits something in you, send it to someone you know who's carrying a similar script. It might be exactly what that person needs to hear today, in the next video. I'm going to dig into another pattern that almost nobody realizes they have. See you there.